Hello, welcome. We're doing Chapter 4, Section 2, Relations and Functions. I'm doing the guided practice problems on page 239, and we're going to do problems 3, 4, 5, and 6. The directions say express each relation as a table, as a graph, and as a mapping diagram. So we're going to do these 4 problems. Problem number 3, first let's do the table. And I mentioned in my previous videos you can draw the table horizontally or vertically. I'm going to draw this one horizontally so I can save some space. So my x values are going to be the first numbers, and my y values are going to be the second numbers. So 1 goes with 1, and 1 goes with 2. That one goes with 1, and that one goes with 2. For the graph, simple graph, this will be my x, this will be my y. So you got 1, 2, 1, 2. Thanks for picking small numbers for me. So 1 goes with 1, and 1 goes with 2. And for the mapping diagram, I'm going to pick the first numbers, which are these numbers. But remember, no repeats. So in my domain part of the map, I'm just going to put the number 1. And in the range part of the map, I'm going to put 1 and 2. And I'm going to draw my arrows from there and to there. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't use this opportunity to talk about other ideas that are in this chapter. And the idea I'm talking about is this relation a function? The directions don't say do that. That'll be the next set. But I just want you to start thinking about this. Do you think that this relation is a function? Make a prediction in your head, and then we'll come back to it in a little bit. Okay, problem number 4. You have a set of ordered pairs. My x's are -1, -2, -3, -4. So I'm going to make my table. -1, -2, -3, and -4. Draw it a little bit further. And my y's, -1 goes with 1, -2 goes with 1/2, -3 goes with 1/3, and -4 goes with 1/4. My graph, I'm going to try to be careful with my graph because I've got those fractions. So I got to be mindful of what I'm going to draw. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Gosh darn it, I looked back at the numbers and I realized these are actually negatives. So I'm going to have to hide this, and I'm going to, oh, I got to start all over again. Okay, sorry about that. I'm going to have to draw it this way. For negative numbers, it's going to be over here on this side. -1, -2, -3, and -4. I messed up. And then I'm going to have to be careful because these numbers start at 1, but then they get smaller. So I'm going to put 1 right here, and then this will be halfway, and that'll be 1/3, and that'll be 1/4. The black marker doesn't really work out with that. So -1 goes with 1, -2 goes with 1/2, and -3 goes with 1/3, and -4 goes with 1/4. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. The negatives threw me off there for a second. I gotta watch myself. And this is why I tell people to use a pencil, not a marker, because I would just erase that. And the last one, the mapping diagram, I think I got room to fit it on here. So all my x's are going to be -1, -2, -3, -4. And my y's, I've got 1, 1/2, 1/3, and 1/4. And then I draw my arrows. I really should redo this video, but you know what? I'm going to leave it. You know why I'm going to leave it? because I need you to learn something about me and I need you to learn something about yourself. It's okay to make mistakes. Give yourself a break, all right? It's okay to make mistakes. I'm good at this, and I made a mistake. My mistake was in the fact that I wrote positive 1, 2, 3, 4 when it's actually supposed to be negatives. But I'm going to leave that in there so you can say, you know what? If my math teacher can make a mistake and be an adult and own up to it, then I can too. Next one, or actually problem 5 and 6. All right, so for the table, my x's are -1, -3, 5, and -7. Note to self, please remember the negatives when I draw the graph. So I get -1, -3, 5, and -7. Most of the time when I draw a table, I'm going to put the numbers in order, but you don't have to. The table is just a way of organizing it. When we get into more detailed stuff later, you're going to see that we try to do that to make it easier. The y's, -1 goes with 1, -3 goes with 3, 5 goes with -5, and -7 goes with 7. Okay, now I'm aware of the fact that I've got negative numbers in here, so I'm going to be very, very careful with this. I'm going to try to draw my graph like this. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So -1. I don't have enough room to write all the numbers here, but that's -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, and -7. And that's 1, 3, 5, and 7. All the numbers are in there. I just only wrote the ones because I didn't have enough room. For the y's, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So again, here's 1, 3, 5, and 7. And -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, and -7. -1 gives 1, so that's actually right there. -3 gives 3, which is right here. +5 gives -5, so I come over to the right 5 and I go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is about right there. And then -7 gives -7. I'm sorry, -7 gives +7, which is right there. And yes, the graph paper would help out so much with that, but I'm not going to be too concerned with that right now. The mapping diagram, so I'm going to write all the x's with no repeats. I don't have anything repeating, so I'm okay with that. So I got 1, -3, 5, and -7, -1 actually. -1, -3, +5, and -7. And for the y values, I got 1, 3, -5, and 7. And draw your arrows. Make sure you put the arrow heads on them. All right, last problem in this section for this video. My table, should have wrote the word graph and map here. For my table, here's my x, here's my y. 0 gives 0, 2 gives -4, and 2 also gives -2. For my graph, again, I've got some positives and negatives. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0 gives 0, so that's right here. 2 gives -4, so go right 2 and down 4. 2 also gives -2, so I go right 2 and down 2. And for my map, remember, no repeats. Because if I look at my x's, I've got a couple of 2's in here, so I'm only going to write it once. 0, 2. For my y values, I got 0, -4, -2. So let's draw those boxes around it. 0 goes to 0, 2 goes to -4, and 2 also goes to -2. Okay, now like I said, for the first problem in this section, number 3, maybe you might notice a couple things about here when we talk about are these relationships functions, and we will get to that momentarily.